You are welcome back again. This is the moment we pick a very, very important issue and set an agenda for discussion on this program. And this morning we are going to look at labor unrest in the country. Indeed, it has been a thorny issue since the beginning of January. This morning we are having with us the brother Nicholas Taylor, who is right now with me in the studios. We are also going to have 𝗘𝗰𝗍𝗂𝗏 Samuel, Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission, Mr. Austin Game, a labor consultant and ADR practitioner. We are also having Bernard J, the General Secretary of the Public Services Workers Union. I have already introduced my friend and brother Nicholas Taylor, who is a trade unionist with me. Our topic, as has been said, is unrest in a challenged economy. Labor unrest in a challenged economy. Labor unrest in a challenged economy. Indeed, Ghana has gone through a colonial rule, got independent, and has had some epochs of military rules. Ghana is currently enjoying its fourth republican regime, and so far there hasn't been any coup d'etat yet. But you know what? During its colonial rule, exactly on the 8th of September 1945, the Trade Union Congress was established. But the power that it wielded was thwarted by the colonial government for obvious reasons. However, during independence, the power of the 𝗘𝗰𝐶 was ignited again because the 𝗘𝗰𝐶 had an alliance with the then CPP led by Kwame Nkrumah. Although many spoke against it because many thought that 𝗘𝗰𝐶 was in bed with the president and also the government in power. The good news was that their union brought into being the enactment of the act that is called the Labor Relations Act 1965. Now, this Labor Act gave power to the trade union on all unions to go on industrial action so that any employer that is not so satisfied with the employee could go on a strike action. Now, unfortunately, in the year 1971, the Progress Party annulled this act. It was abolished. But fortunately, in the year 1972, the National Redemption Council reintroduced the Labor Act. And this was during the era of General Kotu Echampo. And since this time, almost every government has had a labor unrest of a sort. It's been strikes upon strikes upon strike. Now, the funny issue, or for me, the most important, has been the fact that during most election years, there are a lot of labor unrest. From January this year, we have had a tertiary workers union embarking on a lot of strikes. Some have said the strike is unmeritorious and unnecessary. Others are also saying push, keep going. We are going to discuss today what is it that is causing the labor unrest. What are the constituents of labor unrest? And is it a good thing to do or it is a bad thing to do? Mr. Taylor, you are with me. I wanted to give a little historical background so people can understand where we are coming from.
Very important.
In the teacher unions and tertiary workers union, strike, strike. Very soon I'll be going to welcome our panelists who are joining us virtually. But you are a trade unionist. Yeah. Is it a good thing to go on strike?
Right. Thank you very much. And let me say good morning to the cherished viewers of Wesleyan TV. It is good, the history that you traced, and even the 1992 Constitution also allows for freedom of association. And so now, even 1 or 2 people, 2 or 3 people can join and form an association.
Okay.
The Constitution also says that workers join union to protect their social and economic interests.
Okay.
And so, if 2 people come together and they form a union, they have a reason. Apart from that, for every particular union to function and to continue to work on the interests of their people, they need to get what they call the collective agreement.
Okay.
So if the worker obtains, or the working group obtains the collective agreement, it's expected that the person who issued the collective agreement and the person who holds the collective agreement will respect each other.
Okay. So now let's take it this way.
Right.
We understand TUC was formed 8th September 1945. What is a labor union?
Okay.
What is a labor union?
Thank you very much.
The union bank ran your friend a labor union. You might for equal come boom.
Yeah, that's a so you can't labor union na. You try nkrofobia omo ye adwuma baako. Omo adwuma baako. Yɛmfa sɛ yɛmfa WTV a workers na ɛwɔ ha no aka wɔn ho abom sɛ yɛn no yɛpɛ sɛ yɛte ku bi a wɔn bɛfrɛ Wesleyan TV Workers Union. So wɔn ɛfa saa ku no ɛtwa wɔn din to so ɛde kɔ labour office ɛma wɔn certificate a wɔn aba bɛyɛ labour union. Nti labour union is a group of people with common interests to fight for the economic and the social interests of the people, and then who are recognized by the chief labor officer based on the certificate that they have been given, that has been given to them to function as a trade union or as a labor union. And see, one more interesting say, bibia na nipa baako entumi enkoka no. So omu bom na so omu koka e nsunsuaso papa bi ebeba. So practically that's a labor union.
That is a labor union. It is not an agitation union, but
not really.
I'll come to you to that effect.
Right.
I have with me online Mr. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. He is the General Secretary, Public Services Workers Union. Mr. 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, you are welcome to our studios, although you are online.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good to have you. I also have online Mr. 𝗟𝗯ance,
Wow.
a labor consultant and an ADR practitioner. Always on low. Like I want ama. You 𝗟𝗯𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. All right, so you are welcome to our studios. We are discussing labor unrest, and I want to start from you, Mr. 𝗟𝗯ance. You are an expert in this area. I wanted to know if labor unions are not intentionally formed to cause agitations. It's been strike upon strike upon strike when we hear labor union. What is a labor union in your opinion, sir?
Thank you. I think brother 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 and every other person listening to you on the Wesleyan TV. I'm in my car going to a meeting in Accra, so that's why if I'm not stable, that is the reason. But I'm trusting God we can be able to have a good conversation.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, trade unions, as you rightly said, have been formed many years ago. I think after the Second World War or so.
Wow, our line is a little harsh. Our line is a little bit harsh.
Economically, socially, and politically. So it's a very vital, part of governance structure, albeit as a trade union, to enable the working people, like I said, to have a voice. Now, that's why the UN even recognized it, and that is why we have the ILO established to enable working people to have a legal backing and to be able to engage governments and employers in discussing matters that are of importance to them. In Ghana,
Oh, our lines. All right. So let's come to Bernard. Mr. Ghame, we will reach you back. We will reach you. We understand your early morning ride to your meeting. We will reach you back. But let's come to Bernard. Mr. J, you are with the workers. How important
Hello.
is... Hello, Mr. Austin. Okay, let's speak to Bernard. No. Mr. Producer, let's link him back. Let's link him back. Bernard, can you hear me? All right. So if we can hear them, let's come back to the studio. Eja Nicholas, we are looking at. We've now seen what the labor unions are.
Yes.
Now we want to know how important they are in terms of negotiation, because we understand TUC was established and the law that enacted the Labor Act gives power to a certain bargaining power.
Yes.
How important is those unions to the work they do and their bargaining power?
Thank you very much. So at the workplace, the workers are supposed to do what the employers want them to do.
Okay,
so
I understand Bernard is on. Bernard.
Right.
Hi, Bernard. Bernard, can you please unmute your mic? Hi, Bernard.
Hello.
Hello, Bernard.
Hello?
All right. Can you hear me clearly?
Hello.
Hello, Bernard.
Bernard.
Yes, I'm here.
And I can see you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you. But then the line was breaking, so I don't know if they've taken it off air.
No, you are still here with me. You are on air. Can you hear me clearly?
Hello.
Hello, Bernard.
Yeah.
Bernard, can you hear me? All right, so the producers, please get the line stable for us. All of them are driving to work. We know how important early morning is to work. We understand, but please, producers, will get you linked up again.
So you are talking about the importance of these particular labor unions.
Yes.
I can say at the workplace, we are what we call the organic solidarity. Organic solidarity means that, and we normally make it simple: touch one, touch all.
Okay.
So there is something that I can go and say, I may be victimized, but if it is something that all of us need at the workplace, and we all come together and we are fighting for it, the worker cannot say that, the employer cannot say we are sacking all of you. And sometimes when you have labor unions who have the interests of the workers at heart, no more per se, workers no enye nya omo pa. Eye wo mo dwuma se wo mo ne employer no e betena ase. E won san bia e so motumi kan e beboa. E ma workers no so asetena ayeye.
All right.
And that is why it's important.
I have gotten Mr. Austin Ghame back on phone. I think the phone will rather help us. Mr. Ghame. Mr. Ghame.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It's much clearer now. So, after giving us what, in your opinion, a labor union is, I wanted to understand, why is it important that we need a labor union at all? Is it not just a striking group that is always disturbing government will strike upon strike?
Far from that. Trade unions are very important in the life of not just working people, but the employer itself. Indeed, without the people coming together to form a trade union,
Hello?
All right. Okay. Technology.
Yeah. So exactly. So now when the people have come together and they form the trade union, what they do is that it's a check on themselves. So if somebody is not doing the thing based on the rules and regulations of the employment, somebody can prompt that this is not how we go about it. This is not how we go about it. Again, it is the duty of the leadership and the members of the trade union to ensure that there is productivity.
Okay.
Because it's the productivity that will keep them in the job. So, one year, where are you going? So the employer is coming with its capital. The labor, we're also coming with our workforce.
Okay. Let me see if I can engage Brother Bernard. Mr. J.
Hello.
Mr. J, is it clearer now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay.
I can hear you now.
Thank you very much, Mr. J. Mr. J, so I wanted to ask if labor unions were not intentionally set up to frustrate government, because it appears that it is strike upon strike almost all the time.
Well, thank you very much, and I thank my brother at the studio and Mr. Game. Well, I wonder where that perception is coming from. It only means that we have all missed our history lessons. And I heard Mr. Game earlier, though I lost the line at a point. But when you study the history and how unions came about as a result of struggle, as a result of the difficulties and the challenges that we were going through as human beings, especially on the turn of the century, the 18th century, when the industrial revolutions began, which required that people had to go and work in factories and other places, had to go and work for people to be paid, or what we call waged labor. Before then, what we had was more slavery and serfdom, where masters. Do you understand?
All right.
But on the turn of the 18th century, when we had the Industrial Revolution with the factory system and all that, people had to now go and work for other people to be paid, either in any form, including money and all that. Now, that was the beginning of people or workers mobilizing themselves to demand for things, because they realized that if the employer, the person who has the money, who has the assets, the lands, the farms, the resources, if they go as an ordinary worker, one person, to go and engage this person, they are they are negotiating from a weaker point. And the truth was that some of them, or most of them, were also working under slavery conditions. You can work, we have 24 hours in a day, but you can work for 36 hours. You can work for 28 hours. What it means is that so far as you can stand on your feet, your employer or your master will make sure that you continue working till you drop dead. And people thought that that was inhumane. So there were a lot of agitations and movement. Then the workers realized that, okay, we don't have money, we don't have land, we don't have factory, we don't have assets, but what we have is our labor power. Do you understand?
Yes.
That is what we have. So you have your money, you have your land and the rest. You and your family, can you go and weed the farm and produce? Can you go and work in the factory and produce the cars and the other things that you can't? So now we will protect each other. We will be each other's keeper. So the workers came together. So it's as a result of the inhumane treatment that people were going through, workers were going through, that workers came together to demand that no, we are also human beings. The fact that you have money, you have access, does not make you more human than us. So can we agree that certain basic things you do for us so that we can also live as human beings? Our labor power that we are selling, you can pay us adequately for the effort we are putting in. So when you bring money, you bring land, and we also bring our labor power, because at that point we are not talking about individual worker. We are talking about a group of workers coming together. And that's what we call union or trade union or labor union or worker union. These are all semantics. The bottom line is that we are workers that have come together, irrespective of the industry or the sector. We are working, we have come together, and you, the one who have the money, who has established the factory, or who have the land and want us to work on the farm. We want to discuss with you that if we work for you, this is what you also have to do for us. If you make profit, the profit should not be for you alone. Because your money alone, your land alone, your assets alone lying down cannot make you profit.
All right.
It cannot make you profit.
Okay.
So our share of effort that we put into this must also be recognized. And that is how far we've come. You did well by enumerating the history so far as Ghana is concerned.
That's right.
But we were not set up. That's not our history. We were not set up just to be going on strikes. No.
Okay.
When you see workers going on strike, it means they are not being treated fairly.
They are not happy about something.
Justly.
All right. So that really brings us to what is on the table. The insistent and consistent labor unrest. Let me go to Mr. Austin. Mr. Austin has come back on the phone. Bernard, I'll come back to you. But Mr. Austin, you have been a consultant for a very long time. Way back in St. Peter's, I was still hearing Mr. Austin. Yes, so
very experienced.
In an election year, there is this seemingly subtle strike issues of workers. Either it is an agitation, whether it is a strike that is full-blown. Tertiary Workers Union have hit the road now. Mr. Austin, why do we have so much unrest and strikes during an election year?
Well, thank you. I think it's most unfortunate that we are talking about an issue that is so critical and vital to working people today. The point is that governments have been set up to protect the supreme interest of the people of the given country they govern. Good governance will teach us that the best way is to ensure that there is inclusivity in the management of resources and the people in the country. Unfortunately, governments in Africa and Ghana in particular, it does appear our commitment to managing resources prudently and ensuring that the people side of their business is also considered as prominent as other resources that are considered. Unfortunately, that is not the case. People have observed and can see that there is a high level of corruption. There's also the need for government to raise revenue, and they are doing it without any consultation, sometimes with impunity, thinking that because they hold power, whatever they say should be swallowed by the people, hook, line, and sinker. As a result, working people, like you rightly said, as trade unions, will not like to sit idle to make the little money that they have be whittled away into the bigger pockets of governments. I think that's the reason why you see a number of working trade unions coming together and fighting for a just cause. It is not a deliberate thing during an election year, but suffice it to say that people are beginning to recognize that they are being taken for granted, and so there's no need for them to ride on the back of partisan political kind of situation, because maybe I am a die-hard MPP, I'm a die-hard CPP, I'm a die-hard NDC. When they are misbehaving, we should still just applaud them. I think that will no longer work in Ghana and in many other countries. And so it's not surprising that in a supposed election year, you have a lot of agitations as it stands.
All right.
If they do the right thing, you will not suffer these consequences.
Okay, so kukuru ni jaya, keke no subeja. I don't know whether Mr. Osman fits some tree, but it is as if something is pulling something. But Mr. J, you are with the workers. It appears history is repeating itself. When the labor union had an alliance with the then CPP, it was told that they were in bed together. Is it not appearing that some opposition is behind the workers' union causing this agitation during an election year? Mr. Bernard, you are with the workers. Mr. Bernard, are you there? All right.
I'm not sure whether Bernard can hear you.
Okay, all right. So, Mr. Austin, you can take up this. It's a follow-up to what you just said in your conclusion. So, I was saying that history keeps repeating itself.
With government.
Yes.
We have cooperated with government from since it took the reins to manage this economy. And I like the word Mr. Ostingame used. He said governance. It's about governance. How do you govern? How do you govern? We have made ourselves available. We have always been ready to cooperate with government. In fact, this government has really enjoyed in this Fourth Republic. This government has really enjoyed the utmost cooperation of labor you can get during any and the Labour Minister, Honorable Ignatius 𝗟𝗂𝗍. But at this point that we are, every understanding, every agreement or that we have reached with government to ensure that workers do not suffer unnecessarily, and we believe that have not been followed. And as Mr. Ostingame said, when it happens like that, and you begin to take decisions without thinking through the implications and impact of those decisions on workers or on the citizens, it gets to a point nobody needs to tell us that we should go on strike. There's no being No. Nobody is behind us. We are not politicians. We are trade unionists, workers' representation. And my brother, I am throwing this challenge to you, the media. Go around the workplaces and talk to workers. Let workers tell you how much they are taking home, how much they pay in terms of light bill, water bill, how much they spend on food, how much they spend on rent, how much they spend on health. Even though we say we have national health insurance, workers whose health insurance is deducted directly from their SNP contributions. I'm telling you, when they go to hospital, and when they go and even take the receipts, and they pay from their meager salary, when they take receipts and even take, government does not pay. Illnesses that we claim are covered by national health insurance. These are the realities on the ground. So the pressure on people, we say it for fun, that, hey, every Ghanaian is a magician. We are able to manage even, and we are proud of it. And we see the corruption from the top, because the politicians are doing it all over the place with no shame. The worker who is struggling, that is why you go and you be saying that workers say you should put weight or you should put envelope. No. It's just that we have created a system and we are perpetuating it and we are sitting down. But there's a generation of labor leaders now, and we want to make sure that we won't repeat the mistake of our forefathers. And we will ensure that this land, which is for all of us, whoever gets opportunity to governance, does so with us and consult us in how we should manage, and not just take monies from us and spend it on themselves anyhow they want. The monies they take from us in taxes, we are ready to pay taxes. That's why we pay taxes. But we've noticed that they are not using the taxes for the things we pay the taxes for.
Yeah.
And if time permits us, I will list taxes that have been collected from workers. Workers have paid that were meant for specific things. Today, those taxes, they are collecting it, but we don't know where the money is passing. The problems we have in those industries are still persistent. So nobody is behind us. That is a figment of somebody's imagination.
All right.
We are dying. We are dying, and we are saying we are dying. The best you can do is to rather come and address our concerns. But if anybody decides to play this cheap politics, then we are sorry for them. It will take them by surprise. We are not going to relent.
All right. I am really happy with your insistence on the fact that this time you are not relenting, you are pushing until your demands are actually sorted out. But I will want you to, after I go to Mr. 𝗟𝗯ощ, enumerate all these taxes that were meant for what they asked that we pay it for, which were not meant for. But we are going to Mr. 𝗟𝗯ощ. But before that, Uncle Taylor,
Papa,
you are with me in the studio.
Sure.
Yes,
exactly.
On air, then I can come to
with you.
Mr. 𝗟𝗯ощ, you are an ADR expert. There is obviously a dispute on the ground. General Secretary of TUC is saying that we are today putting on our red scarlet and marking time until February 13th. If the VAT on electricity is not immediately removed, we are going to have issues with government. Do you think it's a legitimate call?
Well, thank you. I'm on record to have suggested to government already. Even in private, I've spoken to the highest people in the government that they should withdraw the VAT. And they told me they will do their best to have it withdrawn. So I'm not surprised they have withdrawn it, because organized labor is not ready to yield to this kind of things today.
Okay.
They don't care how you try to blame them. They are not to be blamed. Look, my brother, under the Constitution of Ghana, the Directive Principles of State Policy, Article 36(1), government is to ensure that they manage the economy prudently and ensure that we have work and happiness. And when I talk about work and happiness, it does not mean somebody working at Wesleyan. It means somebody who is selling tomatoes in the market. You must ensure that there is work and happiness across the country. And if you have opportunity to govern the people, it is demanding of you, it is compelling that you must learn the art and science of how to get the people to be involved in the governance structure of the country. But to make the people feel that they elected you, and I'm referencing any government today and government tomorrow. I'm not interested in the past, because, like you rightly said, I deal with ADR, and my ADR is not the cheapest way of take it, leave it, that's not the issue.
Yeah.
You must be an impartial person and ensure that what is true is true. Otherwise, then you are deceiving the people by claiming something you are not. So if you are elected as a president, elected and you made people ministers of state, they have to be accountable to the people. They have to be responsible for their actions. And so nobody, and from now till the time of the coming of Christ, no government leadership in this country should ever attempt to take the people for right. And I will urge everybody, you can belong to a political party by way of voting for them, but don't be partisan. Partisan makes you a vulnerable person. It makes you virtually useless. But if you, politics simply means to make decision on behalf of people. That's the meaning of politics. But when you introduce MPP, NDC, CPP, KDB, then you are creating and fomenting trouble in the country. We don't need that. It's only a vehicle. And people must be willing and without any regret, willing to vote for the government of the day because of their programs. But if you bring the programs and we vote for you and you are unable to fulfill it, get out. Let somebody else come. We keep changing them to the right thing is done. So.
All right. Thank you very much on that point. Let me go back to Bernard. Bernard, it appears the IMF conditionalities are biting, and you rightly so said that they had introduced several taxes, something they assured us they were going to use for a lot of developments which we have not seen. You wanted to enumerate some of these taxes which were enacted previously. Are you in a position to mention them now?
Oh, not really, but my brother, I'll mention one or two.
All right, go ahead.
We're in this country, apart from the IMF distance, as for the IMF, we've already dug the hole for ourselves and we are falling into it. We want to climb out of it. And the history of this country has shown that Labour, we have never been in support of IMF programs because we know what they are. We know they don't help us. They are not really to help us get to where we want to get to. But because we've messed up and our leaders have shown that they don't have what it takes to manage the economy, they run to a schoolmaster, he brings a cane, then he says, don't spend here, do this, collect this money from your people, tax you have misbehaved, but you don't have the money yourself. So task your people to pay it. Then we will sweat again to pay it. The DDEP is more of a tax because our monies have been taxed to go and pay. Do you understand? For someone's recklessness, that's where the anger is coming from. Maybe government is not seeing the full extent of the anger. But if we make a mistake and don't handle these things well, and I'm telling you, the youth of this country, the workers of this country, the citizens of this country are going to rise up. And there is nothing anybody can do unless you kill everybody. So the DDEP is a tax.
Okay.
We've been taxed. All those who had investments and monies at the bank. Some people for over a year are trying to even assess their investment. They can't get it because the money now is only digital. It's only numbers on screens. When you go, the money is not there. And apart from that, the size of the money has also reduced. That's a tax. Our monies have been taxed. That's why we were so aggressive when they wanted to use their pensions. But I say it's our country. We must salvage our country. The next thing, 𝗟𝗯. We brought 𝗟𝗯 to solve energy sector problem. Have we solved that problem? Have we solved that problem? Then now we are hearing emission tax. What is it going to be used for? Even this VAT on electricity, where do they want to spend it? Where is it going? You are just taking it as money to show up, to show your creditors that, oh, we have a means of paying you back. Look at what we've done to our cocoa sector. The NA.
Oh, it appears we have lost Bernard. When we get Bernard, we'll bring him back. But Mr.
IS tax, this one, where is it? Where is it? Things that are collected. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead. Go ahead. You are on. Go ahead.
Okay, so all these things are before us, my brother. Yes. All these things have changed. The world has changed. If our leaders don't know, they should wake up. Business as usual won't work again. We want participatory governance. We don't want to elect people who will come. We don't elect them because they know better than us. No. It's because we can all not go and sit there and rule. So we need to elect some people. But they should know that they are not alpha and employees. We can move this country forward. And that's what we are demanding. So we won't pay the VAT on electricity. We need to sit as social partners or whatever, talk, discuss, and not only labor and government. In fact, even civil society groups, there are other stakeholders, the employers and all. We need to sit down. And I really want to go forward. We are political people to govern us. The employers who also have their monies and have established their companies, their role. We as workers also the role we are to play. Civil society, this is the role. And then we all work to make sure that we build a country that we can be proud of. But this animal farm kind of living and governance, it has come to an end.
It won't help us. Bernard, I'll be back to ask you in your conclusion what workers will do if government continue to stand within its framework of we will continue to collect the tax. But Mr. 𝗟𝗯ance, you are the mediator. You are an ADR expert. You don't have any position. You stand for both government and for labor. What would be your advice for government and what would be your advice for labor as you mediate on this crisis?
Thank you. I think the best thing that government should learn and anyone coming into office in 2025 should learn is that our constitution demands that there must be inclusion. Inclusion simply means that you must involve people in decision making. You must allow people to participate in decision making. Any group of people, be it religious, be it political, be it social, whenever you are making a decision, if it is not doctrinal that you are not going to compromise on, fine. But if it's social, if it's political, you must know that whatever you want to do, you are doing it for and on behalf of people. Involve them. Allow them to participate in decision making. As for the art of ensuring that you mediate between people in a manner appropriate is something that is very important. I will urge both parties, both the trade unions, and I can tell you on authority that I myself, I am a consultant to some of the working, all the laboratory people in the country. I work for them as a consultant.
Okay.
All I work for the nurses as a consultant. I work for a number of other trade unions as a consultant. That's why even there is some level of quiet. The trade union people themselves, the 𝗘𝗰C and organized labor for that matter, they have not been embarking on unnecessary strikes. This government has benefited a lot as if the trade unions are in bed with them. But that is not the case. They have allowed peace to prevail all these years. Unfortunately, they have pushed them to the wall. They couldn't stand it. They were forced to bounce back.
Yeah.
So this should be a bitter lesson to them and to everybody. If we will get chance to govern this country, to recognize that workers are not they are not fools. Only that they want to respect and live in peace to enable us to blossom together and to generate and create more employment opportunities for our teeming youth to get employment.
All right.
So I will urge government to ensure that they engage organized labor, they engage even the informal sector because they also pay taxes. I'm grateful to you.
And what's your last advice for labor? You have advised government. Just in 1 minute, what will you tell the labor unions and organized labor? Advise them too. You are mediating between both.
Well, to be honest with you, they are my friends. They are people who are reasonably matured. People assume that we don't have laborers or some people who are agitators in the 𝗘𝗰C all day. The Secretary General of the 𝗘𝗰C is an economist. Is a doctor. is they understand. My friend, Mr. Bernard there, is well educated. They are all well balanced. You know, we have so many lawyers there who are general secretaries. Nobody should take them for granted. They know exactly what is good for them, and they know that they will not go on strike when there is nothing demanding it. They will not do it. I have confidence in them. When we advise them, they take it.
All right. So we have been on the line with senior brother, our father, Mr. 𝗨𝗓𝗂𝗏𝗋. He is an ADR practitioner and on the verge of this discussion, a labor consultant. He has been magnanimous enough to be online with us amidst all his busy schedules. Thank you so much, Afo. So let's go to Brother Bernard. For your last, you are with the workers, so what if government decides not to heed to your plight? What will you do? Bernard, I didn't say, aban enti mu ade na mo be ya aban. Yenim say ne mo se mo yembo ko jan. Aban enti a ade na e be ya aban.
Yo, medase. Thank you. So we say media no ehye okay. I was saying me my lawyers 𝗟𝗯𝗏𝗂𝗏𝗏 because we are worker. Now so blue tie. Me who red no.
Red wa.
Me co presenter no wa share red enti. Me nini nyina wa share red.
Yo mate anya say be ma unkwan wa tia bat no. Okay. Mate. Enti me nua be ma me dasti. Ya sem die tie. Statement I de ba earlier no. Your demand is very simple. You see about VAT way on electricity there. Yentia. Ghana ni bi eniwa obetia. Inti omu yinfio. Omu nchron krata emma ECG. Eni netco. No omu kanchro mu se dia ya kan no. Ya na ya kan so ya boa. Ya pese yetie adwumayefo eni citizens. Omu hawa omu komunti. Ya bedwe hu fufuro. Na yenye omo susu dia eye na VAT e wo electricity so dia omunjai ye demand e wo ho pa no
Okay.
So omo anya fi ene e kopim on the 12th ko jan eno na ye be hye e dia cha ban say ye won nti mebo adwumayeni bia every worker. I am encouraging you, if you don't want to pay the VAT, you have to let government know that we are speaking your mind. You and your families and every citizen. If you think that this is bringing suffering upon you, start putting on red. Put on red, take a picture and put it on your status on social media that you are against the introduction of that and that government should listen to the labor leaders because you are suffering, you are dying. So that's what we are doing. Throughout this week. Now, say on the 12 a.m. Now, abaya na dream say, "Ho, mwa kakra minti obia, see you so on mine abaya odie." On the 13th, yeah, demonstration, the whole country, and we are inviting everybody, every citizen. If you know you are suffering, if you know you can't survive in this economy. You can't even make your daily bread, daily ends, 3 square meals. Baku krano, just a nyame abem, as a wenya dianiama wumba. If you know you are suffering on the 13th of February, come out. Every part of this country will be in every region. The organizers are planning it. This thing is going to be massive. And if government jokes with it, we are ready to dance to any tune. Then, demonstration, not still. Almost then we'll ground the country to a halt. Strike.
Wow.
That is what we are going to do. Yes. Mr. 𝗨𝗓𝗂𝗏𝗋 touched on it. The workers we are talking about, and laborers. We are talking about all of our laborers, clerks, administrators, PhD holders, professors, doctors. In my union, I have chartered accountants, you have scientists. These are the workers we are talking about. It's not just any workers. And we have come together because those who are well educated and have gotten to the peak, who are doctors, chartered accountants, professors, teachers, nurses, and all that, have come together with the laborers, those who sweep our offices, those who clean, those they send, because we are one. We are all workers, and we think that our government is taking us for granted. And we are ready to show that we won't take it anymore. And we are well educated. Our leaders are also well educated. Mr. 𝗨𝗪𝗧𝗂𝗏 has said it already.
All right.
We have made sure this country has lived in peace. But if this is how government, instead of benefiting from this peace, taking advantage of it to make sure that we do things that will help all of us, they want to use it to intimidate, oppress, and make us all paupers, then that we are not going to take. And we are ready to go in the land. Because, minya, utinasia ubewu, upie so ubewu, iti jana be,
all right.
Nyamia adum na ye pia, ye jidi say ye pie die, ye be successful. At least ye no aduane dey mboyen. Ye sika na ompesa omujika. Utility bills, it's already high. They are adjusting it every quarter. Dollar ni ye fin, no ma adjust it. We ye fin, no ma adjust it. Inti vata we did to son, uli ko eden. Corruption bebre be a costono. So we are wild pa na usisi corruption ni bi annual. Meaning sky be nyano, a brudia vati at the bebrain.
That's right.
Analysis. This is the cheapest way of pauperizing people and taking money and using it for corrupt things. We shouldn't allow that as it is. All right.
All right.
Obi soy and share. Baby obedana enye inti yenyi na yenye ya dream. Obi a share ni red. On your picture, on fan to social media. On my brain, who said, "You near brepa, but on electricity there."
Mr. Bernard J, we want to thank you so much for making time to be with us. For Mr. Bernard J is the General Secretary of the Public Services Union. Na ono na oboye na ode na dwene na minim say na dwene na enye adwen a ono nko eda ni chim na emu Public Services Union no da public service
any organized labor
labor adwen a edo mu nyina tirim no na ode do mu yen a wa kire ono so na adwen. Mr. Bernard, I want to thank you so much for being with us, taking some time of your schedules to be with us. Thank you so much. Enti ahwefo ye sign aba.
Thank you for having me.
All right, thank you. Yes, sign aba studio. So we just spoke to Mr. Bernard J, General Secretary of Public Services Workers Union, and Mr. 𝗨𝗪𝗂𝗏𝗀, labor consultant and an ADR practitioner. But in our studios, we have our own brother Nicholas Taylor, who is a trade unionist. And because of our discussion, to post on the hand, Brother Bernard say, like the proverbial lepers in 2 Kings chapter 7, if we sit, we will die.
Yeah.
And if we go, we will die. When say how no munya all die be die now. All right. So what do you say to in your manner market can be bring?
Yes, I believe that if there is a respect amongst the workers and the employer, some of these things we can overcome it. One munim say workers ye 1 year say ye ma man no koso. Wo so 1 year say wo ye ma yensu asetena ye. But ko be say government no eyinani e wo ne ma bi ho the workers will not sit. And that is why we have the unions. And I want to appeal to government that these taxes upon taxes and levies upon levies, it doesn't help. And it's a trade union and organized labor. It's say we are not going to pay that kind of levy on the electricity now. We are not going to pay because you have nothing to take home and it's not too good for us. You know, the workers are agitating because we don't have any benevolent employer. There's no benevolent employer. Oh no, because why are they they be as a buying one corner one as a way employer, that's what employee one go employer ho and then how your working conditions are going to be improved. They will always take it for granted. And so I want to call on workers also to remain resolute, while also advising the government to take the concerns of workers on board. It's only when the employer thinks say on kono bibia nti onabaka kwche baby a plan na opesa oye no about to workers so what to years society will not agree because there are some people who are in the labor unions now. The experience they have, the knowledge they have, is not easy.
And I know because
yes,
a doctor for a professor for.
But it's not because
but
we cannot all be ministers.
Yeah.
You see, we cannot all be ministers. But at least let them respect the views of the workers. And I think these things are going to work.
It appears to say, well, so I know said there are a lot of you who want to contribute to this. 025-625-3461. 025-625-3461. Say what we do know about if you also think say they are workers union public services union for TUC for organized labor for if it is not in the right direction, please call us and express your view in that regard. But we have Mr. Taylor here. Mr. Taylor, now we can
yes. So again, we want to say Ekodu Abato Mirisana. People think that some politicians, possibly opposition parties, may instigate labor unions to thwart efforts of government. It is never true. Labor unions have gone on strike from time immemorial. And this is not the first time labor unions are agitating.
Yeah. We have our first caller from Cape Coast. Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, Safi Cape Coast, Isaac,
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for the program. I also want to contribute a little to it. Actually, the problem of Ghana is not the politician, it's not the labor union, not Ghana freedom fighters. It is the constitution. Because the constitution is not the people's constitution. If it were the people's constitution, people who are rather taking higher salaries, the ministers and the MPs, and they are those who are not rather paying taxes. They are not paying electricity bills. They are not paying water bill. They have coupons for fuel and all these things. So a laborer in such institution who is taking as little as 500 Ghana cedis is paying taxes and all these things, electricity bill and all these things. And people who are taking far salaries are not rather paying. So they will rather prey on these people to survive. And that is what they are doing. Labor union will make noise. Freedom fighters will make noise. Nothing will change. The only root change of Ghana's problem is to look at the constitution and change a lot of things. As you sit there are a lot of people and this on this cap 30. They don't pay SNIT. They don't contribute to SNIT. The military, the immigration, and all, they don't contribute to SNIT. But at the end of the day, when they retire, SNIT has to pay them. And it creates a very huge gap. At the end of the day, we'll be crawling at the feet of IMF, seeking for 3 billion when Trump alone has a lot of such money. We have to look at the constitution. The noise will make noise today. The following day, we'll still continue to make the noise, and nothing is going to change.
All right, so Isaac thinks that there is a default, something wrong with the constitution.
Yeah, people have said that the constitution, yes, to some extent, but it's people who are operating the constitution. If the constitution says that the president should appoint this number of people from parliament and from outside of parliament, when you are appointed, what do you do? Okay, so the person who is taking 500 Ghana cedis is paying all the taxes. The person taking the 100-something thousand Ghana cedis is not paying taxes. The person has all the things that will make life comfortable. The disparity, the gap between the laborers and then the employer, it's becoming so wide. And when the gap becomes too wide, it has its own serious implications and social implications. And so you realize that people who are going to work and take 700 Ghana cedis, 500 Ghana cedis a month, even those in serious employment, some are going home sometimes 1,200, 1,500 and all that. By the end of the month, your bills alone would have overtaken all these amounts that you have accrued. As I said, we are magicians. When the magician continues to do the magic and things are not coming, they would then lie to you. And so I think that
we are no magicians.
We are not magicians again. Yeah. And it's becoming serious. And I believe that government should also understand that the things are hard. And therefore, they should come to a certain level to sit with workers and then understand what workers can also do to reposition the country. Okay. Yes, they are in power, I agree. But they can also have some kind of consultations. And that is why we have the Jojo approach. Come sit with the workers. Okay, if you are saying we should not do this, what are the alternatives? Okay. Can you do something to increase productivity, to put the nation on a kind of economic recovery? What is your plan on the table? Then the workers also come with their options.
So there is a kasachra buying, and you as a trade unionist, no, machi nimra muna.
As a trade unionist, no. Na meka say, nyanyen so be ya, eba ma adwuma ye no etumi akoso, so that there will be high productivity. Yen so say etumi ye. Bienuma ebia ye ko adwuma late. Yenuma yen ye adwuma say na ye etumi ko adwuma be 10 o'clock. Sometimes by 1, 2 ye fire bag ye ko fie. Sa nyomanyoma na ina no emma adwuma nkoso. And so while we also advise government to do the things for us, you better say workers no so. Nya wunim say ye twoka say ye no. We the workers must also work so that the employers capital na audition adwuma no monzo. Emfaso abaso. Anyesa na ya nhwe ni as I said earlier, say adwuma no go a, where do we stand? So employees must be interested in the continuous existence of the job.
Yeah, I have a caller from Ejumako. Good morning. Hello.
Hello.
Akom Otimenka.
Hello.
Akom, can you hear me,
yeah.
please? We are listening to you.
My contribution to the discussion is this: that Ghana, we are joking because the root cause of the problem is not being taken care of. Our corruption in the country starts from those who will be elected to positions. Because if I am an MP and I'm going to be elected, I have to pay huge sums of money before I'm elected through what we call the delegates. And so when I go there, I'm a businessman as an MP. I'm going to recoup my money. And so money that to be used for development, I have to divert it to pay my loan the people collected for me. And so we have to get to the root cause of Ghana's problem. Corruption is too cheap in Ghana here. People are very happy with corruption. But let me tell you, I have a friend, deputy minister, long ago. He was telling me that he doesn't see why a minister or MP should take money that government has gone for it as a loan, part to put in his account. Because when you go there to negotiate, at least they per them they give you. You can use it for something for yourself and your family. You are so cheap, you are just whitewashing corruption. And this is where our problem is. MPs are businessmen. Ministers are businessmen. If they pay before they are put there, when they come, they have to get their profit. And that is where taxes are going on up and down. Please.
All right, thank you very much for your contribution. Also, so, yes, politicians, your businessmen.
Oh, yes. So, I did be a course on Kakankra. Na so my yetumi etena na yehwe ni ye na ya ka say MPs omo cry omo su say bibia ni ho. So if something is not there and you can spend 1 billion Ghana cedis, 2 billion Ghana cedis to get there, it's not rational. What can you say parliament in here there bibia ni ho, yet you are spending 3 billion Ghana cedis to enter parliament. Into Adena scanner was spend what are you going to get? Into that send a they are business people. When they have paid this money, they have to find ways of recouping it. So by a minister, contract by Nesodema. Contract before the Bamano, and then there's all Yeniska cry to me back. So I am minister or a DC, then obey. So a chief executive of a state-owned institution, then obey. You see, so if these things we don't take good care of it, the way we are monetizing our primaries and all that in both sides of the political divide.
Yeah.
Yanshini here, a bahaya papa because Obia, ordinary Kabashembia, 3 billion. No, we could do that. In see Obetenica, Nanika Nortons, Obetewo, no matter, Sabi, be on taxes, no, I want to bet a better on my development, a big kitchen, and say best friend. Say Bibiani, our parliament, Bibiani ministry appointment, Bibiani DC, Sheba, Yapamucho, the monies you are spending in becoming MPs, in becoming ministers and all that, we should look at
Joe Kasefi Kumase Tafo. Yet you
know what Massimo Book. Or Massimo Book. Me, this will be a bomb in the corner.
What do you want?
Yeah, come on, mom, home mediation. And said painful, or move to tax. Or move Bibia, or move into the Lawson, or move to Bibia, one with Ghana. Into a penina, where's our now it is there. Open so money, Yana, and I say a thing. No movie into a woman, no woman, echo talk back, no mamma bank of food scan woman, Ghana scan one apple from no woman's son. And one a Sunday man, woman, echo talk back. And tis I can show you Jaya. A bad woman of papa. Na sam anya sadia o man no be ko e tsodu na gumo no kura nyankopon do yi ode ye o e be tin so dia ho to de pa ta na ti se ba ti ma sam no
yo e better say eja tell ato aso e.
Yes, and then secondly I think that until say workers in Ghana whatever you are working ye na e betumi aba on the single spine. Na obi ehunu ya ekoso na ye contribute to our own SNET, our pensions. No, we are going to have some of these problems.
Okay.
Because
some do not pay.
Some they don't pay. Yet when they are going, the amount of money they will get. This ex-gratia thing that we have been grappling with all this while. Yeah, people are on Article 71. Article 71 candidates. What are they contributing? In terms of going on retirement, into obia or teacher, obia or police, obia or nurse, whatever, obia to cancra or sometimes 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, not the call. No, be to me to the tune of about 200-something thousand. But the kind of gap is too wide. So, is there any way that we can look at Article 71? Can we scrap it? If it cannot, can it be that maybe the president, the vice president, maybe the speaker, and the chief justice, 4 of them, let them be where they are. But all other workers in this country, in as much as we are all working, we must all be on the same spine.
Fireman.
Yeah, Papa, I could make a practice you.
Yeah, this is caught.
Papa, and I pay 1 year, Papa, 1 year to my year to after anniversary. And I pay Mirawo. Mirawo, Papa, and Bamway, or new workers in Jimmy Year to our day. I mean, I don't know what you know, the Jim Cram in Jafia. Obia, you know what I do for so many years. Who don't know any payment. Never before or benefit from it, we have not just it in Kwan and it's too much, and it's too much. Mesla final. I mean, on Google Yamasuka and FMI. Because, and yes, I record demonstration. The money you pay, yes, on the time of my born again, with some part, or 1 year, the people cannot see some part, you don't to believe. Because I didn't throw me, will not be Jata. I can't have a over cry, the tap between. I'm telling you. It's coming. Let me try it now.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
But when you try to pay, I think Daily Guide also, I saw a publication front page said government has dropped that.
Yes. So
yeah,
that is from the point of view of Daily Guide.
Okay.
But from the point of view of Assassin Radio, so there is that intention and talk about it. But Mr. Austin it has been redrawn. So I don't know whether it's an inside story or not. But we do not have an official communique from government withdrawing
that. But as for organized labor, we have indicated that we will not even attend any meeting for discussion on it. No. This one is not negotiable. Drop it. That is all we're saying for now. And they should drop it. Otherwise, I mean, there's no need going to say it. But who can say, it is not there. Okay, now that it's not there, you better then we are talking.
say okay, my memfa Elizabeth.
Okay.
Elizabeth, who can say Kumasi?
Me pa try suffer Christ into you.
Yeah, this you.
Aha.
Who tie wo ho TV ni mu?
Ye kan mema bra Bernard mo.
Okay. Who tie wo ho
e wo public service worker. I'm retired.
Okay.
But mo cha wo chi ni omo kan papa di say ye bre.
Ye bre.
Ye ka ba tento so kra ye ntimi ntia do no. Me e de beto so. Tie se na na kufa do na dawroma. Oni ni penifo. Omo nya bibi wo ho ma ye sire omo. Dawa.
All right, that's it. That's it. Eyo. Ebe me say Brother Bernard, General Secretary of Public Services Workers Unions no. Nsema waka no. Bibiri na ne ya adwene na ya adwene say na o ka say me say mabo blue ta. Njo chena mempe me ho asem nti. The person lawyer bia ever serve me.
But so when him say worker e kwa adwuma. Na se da sum adwono. Efie e fine.
Obeye adwuma.
Obeye adwuma no. But nipa no kwa adwuma na so no anu okwe se ne ba obedidi o se ondidi o se ne ba school fees a eba no se ne kwa be fese nti o ta adwuma mo kra no he is thinking so much about how he can offset some of these things in the house. And to say adwuma ahode po de be adwuma we adwuma no and all these things it contribute to low productivity. E be sa adwuma no nkoso ahwe ko bi kra in the way of thinking I'm sure that's a idea the ejuma say something that can harm him na ekopra no yeah into not just the money, the worker must have some kind of peace, some kind of comfort when fie ama opia wetuma ko ye ejuma say oye e dey abo my Ghana e dey abroad ni employer but e ko say worker no okọ ejuma no kra no odwin bebre nia ya me yadoma na nsabesi akọ na kra na sanu so baye adwuma e me productivity akoso no eya na eyeden. And we want to appeal to employers, not only government employers. They should look at employees because ye wa hoden na ye adwuma and ebe ma oman no and adwuma so tumi akoso.
Amos bedi akọ ka se fi ahafo okay ye ti o Amos
that was it now with my family. This way, Ghana, I first know. Yeah, it's my I'm out for bra for 10 years, my first to be yeah. Yes, in my virus. And so be moved. One question I want to my family is and another.
Oh, I didn't quite know. You ever say your color will try to crana or near Cassay, and you say any part of the Gina if you didn't cheer Mobomona. Munim say I'm ready to know. Yeah, your call no AC Haniaba, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Taylor, well, last one, not because Yana, I am say any power. Abam na especially we do the last term na I saw kasache no ntie ya na me wonwa so person san ko nanim susu
papa serious na waka na no crese pa politicians as a general say they don't learn from each other nka baby anka obi how be ato no wa fall no nka nisa nka wo no nka wo fa ho
yes
but yakwa say politicians no do be omunsia de ba ye be sere omu tie a beboa
okay.
So workers and agitations na ebebua. We are not just interested in agitations. Okay. We are interested in the forward march of the country. We are all in Ghana. Me, I'm not interested in this UK I'm not interested. Me Ghana here.
Catch them na tete.
Nti ebesere, omo nye adwuma no, omo mbu oman no na etememfo ye ho ntoyen. Ye nso adwuma ye se ye ma oman Ghana ekonanim no. Workers ye nso ye fomboa na Ghana ekonanim. Na ina yedia
say brother Nicholas Taylor Anna Onie Kasai no or trade unionist and they supposed to do pena ye de mano no nanso ye bra ye pepe na or ye lay chairman Nemre Wedie as to say or but he is still very much influential within the Wnibada's Ugusu Airboa Bebre. But before that Mokaya, we had wanted to have all our three panelists in the studio, but online and on your screen we were joined by Mr. Austin Game, who is an ADR practitioner and a labor consultant. Also, Brother Bernard Ejay, who is also the General Secretary of the Public Services Workers Unions. Brother Bernard, Mr. Austin Game, Mr. Nicholas, we also want to thank you so much for being with us. We had discussed labor unrest in Ghana. Sisia de Ekwago Pramaso, all work and no play. Agro, what's the day? Agro now, so there, Ija. Let's go to the field of play.